Did you ever have one of those days where you reluctantly forced yourself out of bed, knowing full well it was going to be one of those days? One of those days where you reflect upon your life and wish you were somewhere else, where you get depressed just thinking about facing a day of drudgery at work, dealing with your children's education, fretting about all the jobs that need doing around the house, and worrying about the bills, forms, and other paperwork piling up on the desk. Do you wish you could leave it all behind and live a carefree life on the road, climbing mountains where the air is crisp and cool, crossing deserts where vivid colors are splashed upon a rugged landscape, hiking through deep green forests overwhelmed by the plentiful wildlife, or swimming along towering coral walls? For most of us, this is only a dream destined never to come true because of our fears of an abrupt departure from the life we've grown accustomed to. Imagine if you somehow managed to overcome your fear, grab your spouse and kids, and live the life you had only dreamt about. That's just what the Vogel family did. Father, mother, and 10-year-old twin boys left their house, cars, jobs, and other creature comforts behind for a 3-year, 17,000-mile bicycle adventure that would take them from the shores of the Arctic Ocean to the southernmost tip of South America. It was an extraordinary journey by an ordinary family. The Vogels are by no means wealthy or claim to be athletic. They are just an everyday family who decided to make living their dream a priority. The route they chose was the longest road in the world, the Pan American Highway. The Pan American Highway is a network of roads extending from as far north as the road goes in North America to as far south as the road goes in South America. It starts in Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, and ends in Ushuaia, Argentina, passing through a multitude of cultures and natural beauty. The children, David and Daryl, made the decision to break the world record as the youngest people to cycle the length of the Americas, and vowed to pedal every inch of the way. During the next 3 years, they would cycle over mountain passes higher than the highest peaks in Colorado, endure temperature extremes from brutally frigid to blazing hot, and deal with winds strong enough to quite literally blow their bikes off the road. The journey was just as much a mental endeavor as it was a physical one, and for it to be successful, the family had to work together as a team. Each family member had unique abilities, and the role they played in the team capitalized on them. John, also known as Dad, was the powerhouse and main driving force of the expedition. He was joined by Daryl as they rode a bicycle built for two. John also served as chief mechanic to keep the bikes in good working order and performed countless emergency operations on the side of the road. Other duties included maintaining our website and homeschooling the kids in math. Nancy, otherwise known as Mom, rode her own fully loaded bicycle. Her responsibilities included the monumental task of trying to keep everyone reasonably clean. Clothes were washed in laundromats, rivers, or on shower floors, while bodies were cleaned in hotel showers, hoses and backs of restaurants, or in rivers that were more often than not brutally cold. Another critical task she was in charge of was keeping 3 growing boys healthy and fed. Finding sufficient food in rural villages was a challenge in and of itself. Hauling all that food on her bike wasn't easy, and cooking over a tiny camp stove after a full day on the road could make for a very long day. David was in charge of his own bike. Seeing how he was only 10 years old when the family started their journey, his bike was barely packed at all. His responsibilities included carrying light items such as pillows and sleeping pads. As he gained strength, he became the pack horse of the family, and by the end of the trip he pedaled a very heavy bike. Daryl joined his father on the tandem bicycle. Daryl's main responsibility was that of a gopher. Since he didn't have to hold a bike, he was the member of the team to jump off to run any number of errands. He checked out hotels or restaurants, picked up last-minute items in shops as the family cycled out of town, and was free to dig through panniers to get an item out when needed. The Vogel family is not new to traveling abroad. John and Nancy met while bicycling through Asia back in the early 1990s. They rode together through Pakistan, India, Nepal, and Bangladesh, where they fell in love. Shortly after that trip, they got married. Following their marriage, they taught at international schools in Egypt and Ethiopia. While they lived in Ethiopia, their twin boys were born. David and Daryl spent their first 5 years in Ethiopia. After completing kindergarten, the family moved on to Taiwan, then Malaysia. While living overseas, the Vogels had the perfect base to travel to nearby countries: Egypt, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and Myanmar were some of the countries the family visited. They returned to the United States for good in 2005. It was a mere 18 months after returning to the U.S. that they hit the road again. After purchasing a bicycle built for 3 for the boys and a single bicycle for Mom, they set off for a 1-year, 9,000-mile ride throughout America and Mexico. This was the warm-up and precursor for their trip down the Pan American Highway.